We got paint drying everywhere. What do you guys say we go take the OG crew cab for a rip? I literally haven't driven it in over a month. What's up guys, welcome back to the Decent Garage and welcome to another video. I've got the garage all rearranged, moved the cab back over here, cleaned up this spot so we have room to work. A few nights ago I took Prospector Bob and went and met a buddy to pick up the transfer case for Long Bed Larry. There she is. So let's get this thing unloaded, clean it up, and paint it up, get it ready to put on the truck. So here's the transfer case, NP205 29 spline. I got this in here. My plan was just to clean it up and paint it and throw it in the truck, but I think the better thing to do while we have it out is to reseal it. So I've ordered a reseal kit. That should be here in a couple days. So we'll get this thing resealed, cleaned up, painted, and then throw it in the truck. We might as well while we have it out. I ordered all the fittings and fuel lines that we can run the fuel lines for this. They were supposed to be here by today, but they're not. So I think what I want to do, we've got a lot of brackets and throttle linkage here that should be on the pump. I know I've got it somewhere, so I'm going to find it. We're going to see what parts we have for that. I guarantee we're missing something. Also, this bracket for the fuel shutoff solenoid, it looks homemade. I would guess that's homemade, so I might need to find one of those. So let's see what throttle linkage parts we can find and what we need to order. So we have the, I don't know what they're called. This is the bracket where the throttle linkage hooks to. Right there, that goes on the side of the pump. This goes on the pump toward the firewall. I don't know what it's called again. This looks like they've modified this throttle linkage. It'll work, I think. And I think what I want to do is weld this a little bit better, grind it up, clean it up, make it look a little nicer. And then I had totally forgot, Gino's Garage had sent me out a fuel shutoff solenoid months and months ago, so shout out to them. But here we have the fuel shutoff solenoid. It's got the bracket, this is the bracket where the solenoid arm hooks to. It's got all the hardware. Let's get those painted and drying, and let's clean this throttle linkage up a little bit. We've got the throttle linkage parts painted and they are drying. There we go. So also the bushings in here were bad, so I ordered some new brass ones for that. So we're gonna have to wait for those to get here to mount up some of the throttle linkage. But while that's drying, I'm sure some of you have wondered about the firewall and why I didn't paint the firewall. My plan for the firewall, as well as the floor inside the cab, the back wall, the firewall inside the cab, is to use this right here. Rust-Oleum protective enamel. This stuff works great. It's super durable. It goes on easily. It looks nice. And to me, the floor and the firewall don't need to have a pretty paint job. You're never going to see it. When you see it, you're not going to be looking at the detail of the paint. So I think I'm going to paint the firewall this. I might paint the inside of the inner fenders this. We'll see, but it's a great option because it's cheap and it still looks pretty good. All right, we got some paint on the firewall. We got paint drying everywhere. What do you guys say we go take the OG crew cab for a rip? I literally haven't driven it in over a month. All right, she's right where I left her. So let's see if she'll start up. Man, I miss driving this thing. Without fail. It's the next day here. I hope you guys enjoyed that little drive in the OG crew cab. She runs amazing. So all of our throttle linkage parts are dry. Looking really good in that matte black. Now my plan was to get all this stuff installed right now, but it's dumping snow. And there's the truck. So we're not going to do that right now. Also, the paint on the firewall is dry. Turned out pretty good. So with the weather how it is, we got to pivot just a little bit. I think what I want to do, I want to get the inside dash area ready to start putting stuff in. So I pretty much have this thing all cleaned up, and it cleaned up really nice. But I found there's a hole right here in this part of the box. The piece is just flapping in there. So I'm gonna get out my plastic welder and weld that back up so we don't have a leak there. Got that patched up with the plastic welder. Doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't matter. No one's ever gonna see this. I just didn't want a hole there. If you're wondering about that plastic welder, I have a video on it, how to use it with a link to the product. I really like it. And then coming over here, got a coat of paint on the inside of the firewall. Looking good. Now I need your guys' help. There's a part I'm looking for that I can't find it used, and I don't want to buy it new. I think it's priced pretty ridiculously. It is the mount for the fan on the front of the engine. So if you pulled an engine apart, you have a spare one sitting around, I need that mount. And then if you have the little cup that goes over it to hook to the fan, that would be great too. I've got a fan right here, but I'm missing those two parts. So reach out to me. My contact is in the description of the video. We'll work something out. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for shipping, whatever you need. And I'll usually also send you a decent garage keychain. Alright guys, well, I went down a rabbit hole with this thing. So I cleaned the outside. I've never pulled the top off of one of these, so I kind of wanted to see what was inside. And it was fairly clean, just a little bit of dirt here and there, so I cleaned it out. And now I figure I'm going to replace the heater core. This one actually looks fine, doesn't look like it's leaked at all. But I ordered a new one. So we're going to replace the heater core. Also, the blower motor, we're already here. I ordered a new one. This one looks fine, but again, we're already here. So I'm going to replace that as well. The AC evaporator looks just fine, and these are super hard to find. So I'm going to leave this one. I cleaned it up a little bit. So that's there. So we're going to hold off on getting this installed because I'm going to wait for the heater core and the blower motor to get here. I'm also going to try and find some foam to replace all the foam, all this foam. All the blend doors have foam on them, and you can see how old and crusty it is. So I'm going to replace all that foam. But there's how she cleaned up. Looks really good. So kind of a dud of a few days because we really didn't get a ton finished, but we found a lot of things we need to work on. I've ordered the new rebuild kit for the MP205, ordered the new parts to rebuild the heater box. I've got new fuel lines and all new fittings coming. What else do I have? I've got a ton of other stuff that should be here in the next couple days. So we're gonna have a ton of new stuff to install. We got to get putting stuff on the firewall, get that all put back together, and soon we're gonna get the cab put back on the truck. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you guys in the next one.